Here's why you should consider becoming a born-again Christian. I use that phrase born again in brackets because you might already call yourself a Christian. You might tick the Christian box on the census. You might say, yeah, I'm happy to sign up to that label, but here's the thing. Do you really believe in Christ? Do you really sign up to what Christians believe in? Is it real for you? Do you believe it with your heart? Or is it just a casual label that you take onto yourself? Have you been born again? Have you had a spiritual rebirth that comes from placing your faith in Jesus? Here's why you should consider going through that, why you should consider becoming a born-again Christian. First, here's the offer that Christianity makes to you. Just consider for a moment. If Christianity is true, if it's true, here's what you get from it. You get 1, total forgiveness from the past. Anything you've ever done wrong, anything you're ashamed of, your deepest, darkest secrets, whether you've got a criminal record and you've got a terrible past which you're horrendously ashamed of, or you think, actually, no, I'm a pretty good person, but there are those secret things which you've never told anyone about. You get total forgiveness from them, completely let off the hook, conscience cleared, God takes it all. That's amazing. That's a relief. That's freeing. That's freedom. In the present, you get many things. Here are just 2. You get peace. You get the peace of God can invade your life and come and settle your anxiety. I'm not saying that it'll make you perfect all of a sudden or all your problems will instantly be fixed, but God can come into your life and bring his peace. Jesus said he came to give us his peace and to give us rest in him. You also get a purpose. You get a reason to live beyond just chasing money or chasing sex or chasing success or chasing that next promotion at work or chasing good grades. You get a purpose, a meaning beyond the trivial and fleeting things of this world that pass away. And perhaps best of all, you get thirdly a hope for the future. You get something to look forward to, not just coming tomorrow or later on in this life, but in the life beyond death, eternal life with God in heaven. And if you think the idea of that sounds boring, well then you haven't met him yet. So here's the good news of Christianity. Here's the good news that I want to share with you through this YouTube video. 1, there is a God who is real. There is a God who made the world, who made this universe, and is real. He is the fundamental bedrock of reality. He's what it all comes down to. Everything came from him originally. And not just that, he knows you. He knows you by your name and he loves you. He loves you and he wants you to know him. There's a God who loves you so much. You are so loved. You were created out of love by God. He just loves you immensely and he longs for you to know that love and to encounter him. In fact, he longs for it so much that he sent his son in the person of Jesus. So God the Son became Jesus, a human being, in order to die for you, to take the punishment that you deserve and I deserve and anyone we deserve for turning away from God's love, turning away from reality and truth and going our own way in selfishness. That's complicated, I know. You could talk about that more with a Christian friend, but that's what it basically comes down to. Christians, we believe that God sent his son to die for you. God the Son gave his life so that you could be forgiven. So all you need to do is turn away from your selfishness, following your own path, doing your own thing, ignoring God, ignoring his love, living life on your terms, your way. Turn away from that towards Jesus. Place your trust and your belief in Jesus Christ. If you do that, you will be forgiven, like I said earlier, from the past, and have eternal life starting now, going on to be with him forever in heaven, eternal life with him in heaven forever. That's the good news of Christianity. Okay, so sounds pretty nice perhaps. Maybe it's already hitting you hard and you're thinking, yeah, actually, I get it, I see it, I believe it, I want to know this Jesus, I want to place my trust in him. If that's you, now's the time to pray. You don't need to watch anymore. You can if you're curious, but now's the time to pray. Now's the time to find a Christian friend, a local church that actually believes the truths of Christianity. Get someone to pray with you. Accept Jesus into your heart, or recommit yourself to him if you've been here before and you can know these things. But maybe you're thinking, oh yeah, that's a nice story. I can see how, maybe roughly a third of the world's population, a bit less I suppose in actuality, have signed up to that. It's a nice story. It sounds good. It's very appealing, but it's just a crutch. And what reason do I have to believe in this? No one intelligent, no one scientific, no one educated, no one sensible really believes in this, do they? Well, watch on. Because this is not just wishful thinking, I put it to you. I want to suggest to you, present to you, that this is not just a nice story that some people use to console themselves in the face of their miserable existence or the angst of being a human being. It has evidence to back it up. I can only touch on it briefly in this little video, but here's some of the evidence for the truth of Christianity. First of all, there's historical evidence for this person, Jesus, being God and being who he said he was in the pages of the Bible. It hasn't just been invented and plucked out of thin air. It's got a grounding in history and historical documents. The documents of the Bible are so well attested. We are we're as close to certain as we can be with historical documents in the past, certainly from around the time period that Jesus was, that they have arrived to us in their present form, in the form that they were written originally. Fair enough, that's different from saying that they contain truth, for sure, but that's just the first thing to establish. We have what was written in those early times because they were copied faithfully many, many times over, and they were quoted in other writers around that time. You can read more about this if you like chasing these things down. I'll put some links in the info for this video. So Jesus definitely existed. No one except one or two nut jobs who want to sell some books disagrees with that. But what's more than existing, he died, and the Bible claims he rose again from the dead. That is not a whimsical historical fancy. There is strong evidence for that because the Bible itself counts as evidence. It may have been written by Christians, but they became Christians because they saw what happened to Jesus and they wrote it down. They couldn't help be Christians after what happened to Jesus. So don't discount the Bible as history. It's a historical document. It's multiple historical documents, just like any other historical documents. The difference obviously is that it claims miracles. But I put it to you that if you actually investigate it for yourself, you can be persuaded. You can see for yourself. If you haven't ever read the Bible, have a go. Take a look. Try and start reading the New Testament. Start with Matthew, maybe, or John, one of the Gospels at the start of the New Testament. You'll see that they themselves were written by people who were convinced by what they'd seen of Jesus, the miracles he did, and of him rising from the dead. And just the fact that Christianity was able to explode from nothing, from the death of its leader, to the most followed global religion very, very quickly. Just that fact, when it was based on its historical claim, is evidence itself for its truth. So it's grounded in history. Christianity is grounded in history because if Jesus rose from the dead, like these texts claim he did, and like they witness to and testify, then he's worth listening to. It's not much of a leap to go from, wow, this man rose from the dead, to he might have actually been onto something. He might have been telling the truth with the other things he said, like, I am God. Another reason, more evidence. Miracles, like the ones I just mentioned that Jesus did, healings, God revealing himself, God speaking to people, these have not stopped. They are not just within the pages of the Bible. They still go on today. The Christian church still sees miracles happen today, especially, I believe, in countries where missionaries are currently working and spreading the truth of Christianity for the first time. Jesus actually said, believe in me based on what I say, or in John 14 he said, at least believe in me on the evidence of the miracles themselves. And that was about his miracles, but also those miracles haven't stopped, because Jesus said, my followers will do the same things that I did after me. And I think there's no reason that I can see that he gave for why that should have stopped at the end of biblical times. He said, my followers will do the same things and even greater things than these, because he's not going to be around to do them. Even greater things. And it is still going on in the church today. I could give examples. I'll put some more links in the info section, but they're out there to be chased down. And So your homework for the first one is go and read for the Bible for yourself. Homework for the second point is go and try and find out some miracle stories, track down some contemporary evidence of miracles and see what you think for yourself. Even better, ask a Christian you know. What have they seen God do in their life? Or what have they heard of happening in the church or missionary friends or reports of that's happening today? I'm not going to claim actually that miracles only happen in the Christian tradition. They may even happen in other traditions, but that's because I believe there's a spiritual realm of which Jesus is king. So the best miracles that point to the one true God, the only one worth worshipping, are the ones in Christianity. All of these 3 points go together for me. They shouldn't be taken in isolation. So you've got the historical evidence in the Bible, you've got the fact that miracles are still happening today, and what more? You've also got the personal evidence of experience. Now this is very personal and hard to put your finger on, but if you experience a miracle for yourself, if you have a profound encounter with the presence of God yourself, if you hear Jesus talking to you yourself, if you feel God's peace in your life, if you feel his guidance, if you know Jesus light up your life like no one else can, and have a noumenal encounter with him is one way to put it, then that is going to act as evidence for you. You might not have had that, fair enough, you might not have had that. However, the homework for this one is, why not try reaching out to God in prayer and asking him to reveal himself to you? Because I believe that if you do that with an open and willing heart, he will. It says in the Bible, seek and you will find, ask and you will receive. Are you really that suspicious of yourself or underestimating of yourself that you think you could trick yourself into belief? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if this could be true, and all those things that were offered, that we looked at, are offered by Christianity, could be true, which if they are is absolutely amazing, isn't it worth having a go, saying a prayer, asking God if he's there to reveal himself to you? Because I believe that he is there, and he knows you, and he loves you, and he wants you to know his love. So I would encourage you to do that. I made this video even if I might be making a fool out of myself a little bit, because I believe that, and I believe he wants to speak through me to you even right now, and that was worth making a little YouTube video for. So I hope this message, you've enjoyed this message. I'm sure there'll be all sorts, if it ever gets watched by anyone, all sorts of backlash and responses, positive and negative, in the comments. Hey, it's the internet, it's the 21st century, but I look forward to seeing those. God bless you. May you come to know him.